So is everyone still up to date on the CSAM thing? CSAM has not been demonstrated in this case. Not even, it hasn't been demonstrated that Destiny ever had CSAM. Proven true? Proven true in court of law? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, Dave is not this simple-minded. He thinks that what he was citing was proven true in a court of law? My goodness. This is wild, Dave. How could you believe, with at the stage this case is at, that this has been proven true in the court of law? So Dave wrongly accused Destiny of sharing explicit images of a minor, and then he himself attacked a minor. That's why I titled the video, Dave Targets a Minor, which he did. Yes, so this is a real and still active federal civil lawsuit, and it is considerably more complicated than the shorthand quote, Destiny leaked revenge porn. The case is Doe v. Bonnell, number 125 CV 20757 in the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of Florida, before District Judge Jacqueline Becerra and Magistrate Judge Edwin G. Torres, handling referred matters. It was filed February 18th, 2025 by a plaintiff proceeding as Jane Doe, publicly known by the creator name Pixie, against Steve K. Bonnell, II Destiny. One immediate update, your screenshot is, it's quote, last known filing July 23rd, 2026 is already stale. The docket now contains filings through August 2024, yesterday, 2026, including an August 19th evidentiary motion hearing and August 24th notices concerning which sealed documents should be made public. There has still been no final judgment. Let me send this. I want to make sure that part is clear. What the lawsuit actually is about. At its core, the case alleges non-consensual distribution of an intimate sexual video, not non-consensual sex or non-consensual recording. The court's own October 2025 order states that the parties' sexual encounter occurred on September 12th, 2020, and that the encounter was consensually recorded. Both sides agree to that basic point. The central issue is what happened to that recording afterward. At some point in 2022, Bonnell sent the video electronically to a Discord contact he knew as Rose. That act of transmission itself is essentially not the central factual dispute. The crucial questions are when he sent it, whether Pixie consented to that distribution, whether he subsequently sent or made it available to anyone else, what legal consequences follow from that transmission, and who ultimately caused the massive public leak in November 2024. That distinction is fundamental. It is inaccurate to say Destiny is accused of secretly recording Pixie. The recording itself was consensual. It is also inaccurate to say Destiny uploaded Pixie's sex tape to Kiwi Farms. The court specifically noted that the parties appear to agree Bonnell did not himself upload it to Kiwi Farms. The allegation against him is principally that his earlier private sharing of the video without Pixie's consent ultimately exposed it to the person who later leaked it publicly. The original version of the story, Pixie alleged that Bonnell sent the video to Rose on approximately October 4th, 2022 without Pixie's knowledge or consent. Then on November 29th, 2024, an account named Solo Tiny Leaks uploaded the video to Kiwi Farms. It subsequently appeared on additional pornography sites and spread widely online. The complaint alleged tens of thousands of views and substantial harassment and reputational harm. After discovering the leak, Pixie confronted Bonnell. The complaint includes a contemporaneous message in which Bonnell apologized and said there was literally no excuse, describing the recipient as someone with whom he had spoken and who had become fairly close to me. That message is quite important because it strongly supports the proposition that Bonnell knowingly sent Pixie's intimate video to another person. His defense is not simply, quote, I never shared this with anybody, but that still doesn't establish that Bonnell was the person who publicly leaked it 2 years later. Discovery produced a major twist. Quote, Rose apparently wasn't Rose. This may this may be the most important factual development since the lawsuit was originally filed. The real woman, whose identity and photographs were being used by the Discord account called Rose, was eventually located and deposed on October 23rd, 2025. According to her sworn deposition testimony, she had never communicated with Destiny, had never messaged him, had never exchanged sexual material with him, did not control the account in question. She testified that a man she knew online, often referred to in this case as, quote, Solo, had been using her identity and was the person behind the Rose account. So a more accurate reconstruction is Bonnell believes he is talking to Rose. Rose is actually a male catfisher using a real woman's identity. Bonnell sends the intimate video to that account. The catfisher retains access to Bonnell's material. Quote, Solo Tiny Leaks later publishes Bonnell's private material, including the Pixie video. The court has not yet issued a merits finding declaring every part of that causal chain proven, but the sworn testimony significantly changed the evidentiary picture. Why April versus October 2022 is enormously important. This is probably the single most consequential legal issue in the entire case. Pixie's federal claim is brought under 15 U.S.C. 6851, the federal civil cause of action for disclosure of intimate images. That law did not take effect until October 1st, 2022. The original complaint interpreted a Discord date as October 4th, 2022, which would put the transmission 3 days after the federal statute became effective. But Bonnell's defense argues the screenshot came from British catfisher's side of the conversation and therefore used day/month/year formatting. So April 10th, 2022. Interesting. Instead of October 4th. I see. The defense says Bonnell's own American formatted logs show the corresponding transmission on April 9th, 2022, with the 1 day difference explained by time zones. The real, quote, Rose also testified that the person impersonating her was British and in the UK during the relevant communications. The plaintiff's own forensic expert later reportedly accepted on April 22nd transmission date in an amended declaration cited by Bonnell's summary judgment motion. If the only legally actionable disclosure by Bonnell occurred in April 2022, that creates a potentially fatal problem for Court 1 because 6851 did not exist yet. But Pixie's lawyers developed another post-October 22nd, 2022 theory. This is why the case didn't simply disappear once the date format issue emerged. Pixie amended her complaint to argue that there were later disclosures. Two theories became particularly important. First, she argued that Bonnelly, according to that guy's name, Norman Finkelstein, maintained the material in a Google Drive and distributed links that continued to make the material accessible after October 1st. Second, a witness using the name Abby MC submitted a declaration asserting that the video was transmitted to her, quote, on or about November 3rd, 2023. If adequately proved, either theory could potentially supply a post-effective date disclosure under the federal statute. Judge Becerra therefore allowed Pixie to amend her complaint in September 2025, but very explicitly did not decide that these allegations were true or that federal jurisdiction actually existed. Bonnell retained the right to challenge jurisdiction. That's an important distinction. Court allowed allegation is not equal to court found allegation true. Bonnell strongly disputes the alleged 2023 transmission. His January 30th, 2026 motion for summary judgment attacks the evidence directly. The defense argues that Abby MC did not ultimately produce documents substantiating receipt of Pixie's video. Bonnell's records show 2 Google Drive links were sent to Abby MC on November 3rd, 2023. Those links allegedly concerned sexual material involving other women, not Pixie, and the discovery record therefore contains no admissible proof that Bonnell sent Pixie's video after October 1st, 2022. That is the defense's summary judgment argument, not yet a judicial finding. Pixie's side disputes the conclusion and has also argued that incomplete/deleted electronic evidence prevents the existing record from establishing what really happened. And that leads to the next huge fight. The spoliation of evidence issue has now become central. Pixie alleges that Bonnell deleted or failed to preserve electronically stored evidence relevant to the lawsuit. Her original complaint had already alleged that he started deleting messages after litigation became foreseeable. A preservation demand was sent to him on January 22nd, 2025. 2026, Pixie escalated the allegation into a formal motion for sanctions under Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 37E2. That is serious because Rule 37E2 concerns electronic information lost with intent to deprive another party of its use in litigation. If such intent is actually proved, possible remedies can include very significant adverse consequences. But no court finding of intentional spoliation has yet been entered. Bonnell denies sanctionable spoliation. The issue became important enough that Judge Becerra removed the case from the August trial calendar, stating that the sanctions/sealing issues involved evidence central to resolving Pixie's claims. An evidentiary/motion hearing was held on August 19th, 2026, specifically concerning Pixie's Rule 37E2 spoliation motion and related sealing issues. The docket says, order to follow. As of the latest public docket material we found, that ruling has not yet been entered. On August 20th, 5 days ago, Pixie filed additional materials, including Bonnell's 449-page deposition transcript, her expert report, and Bonnell's discovery responses. More filings regarding unsealing followed on August 24th. So this case is currently very much alive. What laws is Pixie, if that's her real name, actually suing under? There are 4 causes of action. Count 1, 15 U.S.C. 6851 Federal Intimate Image Disclosure Law. The core issue is, did Bonnell knowingly/recklessly disclose Pixie's intimate depiction without her consent after October 1st, 2022? Number 2, Florida State 784.049, sexual cyber harassment. Did his electronic dissemination satisfy Florida's statutory elements? Intentional infliction of emotional distress. Was his conduct sufficiently intentional/reckless, outrageous, and causally responsible for severe distress? Public disclosure of private facts. Is Bonnell legally responsible for sufficiently public disclosure of Pixie's private sexual material? The complaint also contains accusations of harassment, defamation, like conduct, and evidence destruction, but there is not a separate defamation count in the original 4-count complaint. One major misconception: consent to recording does not equal consent to distribution. This is expressly addressed by the federal statute. I think that makes sense to everyone. What does Bonnell appear to admit? Very strongly supported. Bonnell sent the Pixie video to the Discord account he believed belonged to Rose. The court itself described the disputed history as Bonnell transmitting the video to Rose in either April or October. His contemporaneous apology after the leak is also consistent with acknowledging that private transmission. Therefore, quote, Destiny never shared Pixie's video with anybody would be wrong, but Destiny publicly leaked Pixie's sex tape onto Kiwi Farms would also be wrong based on the current record. The court explicitly says the parties appear to agree he did not upload it there himself. The accurate middle position here: Destiny knowingly made at least one private disclosure of Pixie's intimate video to another account. A different actor appears to have subsequently caused the large-scale public leak. Whether Bonnell's own disclosure was legally actionable under the federal and Florida statutes is the litigation's central issue. The public Kiwi Farms leak was massive, but appears to have victimized Bonnell too. The November 2024 leak didn't consist solely of Pixie's video. The court records describe a larger release of Bonnell's private communications and sexual material. Bonnell's position has therefore been that he too was a victim of the eventual public leak. That does not absolve him of responsibility for previously giving Pixie's material to someone without her consent, but it materially changes this narrative. This narrative, Destiny maliciously uploaded revenge porn of Pixie for the public to see. The current evidence instead suggests an intervening actor acquired private material from Bonnell and subsequently published it without either Pixie's or Bonnell's consent. The preliminary injunction was denied, but that did not exonerate Destiny. Pixie sought emergency relief that would have barred Bonnell from further sharing the video, required removal of material under his control, required him to direct third parties to remove it, and require preservation/recovery of electronic evidence. Judge Becerra denied the temporary restraining order in April 2025 after a June evidentiary hearing at which both Pixie and Bonnell testified. Magistrate Judge Torres denied the preliminary injunction on October 6, 2025. One major reason was irreparable harm. The court emphasized that Pixie waited roughly 5 months after the November 29th public leak to seek emergency injunctive relief. That delay undermined the proposition that immediate judicial intervention was necessary. The court also had unresolved doubts about whether the federal statute applied given the April/October timing dispute. Crucially, the order expressly indicated that the denial was largely procedural and not an ultimate merits adjudication. So it's false that Pixie lost the case. It's also false the judge ruled Destiny didn't leak anything. What happened was she failed to satisfy the demanding requirements for preliminary emergency relief. Pixie also tried to get the court to order Kiwi Farms to remove the video. That request was denied on October 6, 2025 as well, but again, the reason matters enormously. The court didn't rule, quote, Kiwi Farms is entitled to host the video. Instead, it held that Kiwi Farms Lolcow LLC was a non-party, and the court couldn't use the procedural mechanism Pixie proposed to enter an injunction requiring that non-party to alter its website. Yeah, that would be a different case, right? The same order contains one of the clearest statements about the public leak. The parties, quote, appear to agree that defendant did not himself upload the video to Kiwi Farms. That's an important sentence for any fact check for this case. There have been major privacy ceiling fights. Given the extraordinarily sensitive discovery involved, the court entered a detailed protective order in September 2025. It allows confidentiality designations for such things as intimate images/videos, Jane Doe's private identity information, certain non-party witness identifying information, psychological medical records, private sexual information likely to cause humiliation, harassment, or retaliation. The court granted that request in part rather than simply giving Pixie everything requested. Pixie later asked the court to restrict public commentary about the litigation by trial participants, largely because of her allegations that Destiny's commentary and audience were intimidating witnesses. In March 2026, that broader restriction was denied because the court viewed it as an unconstitutional prior restraint on speech. That does not mean the court found her harassment allegation fabricated. It means her proposed remedy violated the First Amendment. There was no settlement. The parties went through mediation. A December 23rd, 2025 final mediation report said the case had not been settled. Bonnell subsequently sought summary judgment. Bonnell's motion for summary judgment is potentially decisive. On January 30th, 2026, Bonnell filed for summary judgment. In essence, he argues there is no genuine evidentiary dispute showing that I disclosed Pixie's video after 6851 became effective on October 1st, 2022. The known transmission was April 2022. Therefore, the federal claim fails. His evidentiary package relies heavily upon Discord logs, the UK date format explanation, the real Rose's deposition, the plaintiff expert's amended date analysis, the alleged absence of corroborating evidence from Abby MC, and Pixie's earlier testimony concerning whether she had seen evidence of a post-October transmission. Pixie filed her substantive opposition on May 8th, 2026, and Bonnell replied May 13th. The summary oh my God, how much money has been spent, I wonder, in court. The summary judgment motion has not been finally resolved. That is currently one of the most important things to watch. Why losing the federal claim could radically change the lawsuit. The federal claim supplies the obvious federal question jurisdiction under 28 USC 1331 if Judge Becerra concludes there was no post October 1st, 2022 disclosure actionable under 6851, the federal claim could disappear. Bonnell then argues that the court should decline supplemental jurisdiction over the 3 remaining Florida law claims. Importantly, dismissal of the state claims for lack slash declination of federal jurisdiction would not necessarily constitute a finding that the underlying conduct was lawful. A federal judge can decline to adjudicate state claims after the federal hook disappears. So if that happens, headlines saying, quote, "Court proves Destiny did nothing" would potentially be misleading. What damages does Pixie seek? Oh man, just making sure I didn't miss any super chat. What up, everyone? What damages does Pixie seek? The federal statute allows a successful plaintiff to recover either actual damages or $150,000 in liquidated damages, along with reasonable attorney fees and litigation costs, and allows injunctive relief. In the original complaint, Pixie specifically pleaded actual damages or the federal $150,000 liquidated amount, at least $1 million in compensatory damages under the IIED theory, at least $1 million in punitive damages under that theory, punitive damages under other claims, attorney fees slash costs, and which will probably be like $10 million, attorney fees and costs, and injunctive slash equitable relief. But the final prayer did not demand one single fixed aggregate judgment. It asked for damages to be determined at trial. So headlines like, quote, "Pixie is suing Destiny for exactly $2.15 million" would also be too simplistic. Pixie alleges serious personal harm. The complaint alleges that public exposure of the intimate video caused intense humiliation, depression and anxiety, severe emotional distress, reputational damage, professional damage, harassment from internet users, and suicidal ideation. I wonder if, and I'm also curious about how this has affected Stephen, the public exposure. These are plaintiff allegations regarding damages, not judicially determined medical findings. At the preliminary injunction stage, however, the court apparently did regard her distress testimony as genuine. The problem for emergency relief was principally whether the harm qualified as imminent and irreparable, not whether she felt distress at all. What about the allegations involving other women? The complaint contains much broader allegations. Pixie alleged that approximately 15 women contacted her claiming Bonnell had sent them sexually explicit images of other women without those women's consent. The complaint also discusses specific other women who allegedly experienced unauthorized dissemination or recording. Those allegations potentially matter as pattern evidence, but they should absolutely not be turned into court found Destiny revenge porned 15 women. It has not. These are allegations by Pixie and or third parties, and each underlying incident would require individual verification. There was also a problematic minor allegation. One side dispute came quite contentious. At one point, Pixie's lawyers argued that the real, quote, Rose had been a minor during some of the relevant communications with Bonnell. The subsequent deposition created a major problem for that framing because the real woman testified that she wasn't the person talking to Bonnell at all. The person operating the account was the catfisher impersonating her. Bonnell therefore sought Rule 11 sanctions over the allegation. This distinction is crucial. The fact that the real woman whose identity was stolen was a minor does not establish that Destiny knowingly exchanged explicit material with that minor because the evidence indicates she wasn't operating the account. We should not therefore repeat, quote, Destiny sent porn to a minor named Rose as an established fact. Where the case stands today, August 25th, 2026. This is the most important correction to the screenshot Dave is using. The trial had originally been set for May 18th, 2026. It was then continued to August 10th, 2026. But on June 30th and again July 23rd, Judge Becerra removed the case from the current trial calendar because the spoliation and sealing issues concern evidence central to resolving the claims. The court stated that the matter would be reset after those issues are ruled upon. Then, August 17th, Pixie filed supplemental declarations supporting the spoliation motion. August 18th, Bonnell filed evidentiary objections and declarations. August 19th, Judge Becerra held the motion/evidentiary hearing on spoliation and sealing, quote, order to follow. August 20th, Pixie filed additional evidence, including Bonnell's lengthy deposition transcript and expert discovery material. August 24th, both sides filed notices dealing with which document should be unsealed. Therefore, as of August 25th, 2026, which is today, by the way, the lawsuit is still active, summary judgment still unresolved, spoliation sanctions issue unresolved, no settlement, no trial verdict, no finding of liability, no finding that Bonnell violates 6851, no finding that Bonnell intentionally destroyed evidence. August 10th trial did not proceed. Destiny has not been convicted of anything. This is a civil case. The current docket runs at least through ECF 297, contrary to the July 23rd, quote, last known filing displayed in the screenshot by Dave. All right. That's where that's at. Is it playing Ocarina of Time again? Oh, no, never mind. What are we on to now? Oh, Donkey Kong. All right. Shall we move on? I mean, for me, I'm going to wait for the professional courts to adjudicate all of this stuff, and I will give my opinions on that adjudication. Can we start the video again?
Go into many details. Destiny said, no way, he's lying. Pangburn said, oh my gosh, Dave could get sued. Oh my gosh, Dave could get sued for engaging in cyber attacks that harmed his income at the time, and apparently the police wouldn't do anything, so his solution was to murder him and his dad. But don't worry, he didn't do it. Not because, oh my gosh, Dave could get sued to jeopardize his awesome life making so much money. What a great guy. And now for the meat of it. Remember that lawsuit I told you about last time but didn't go into many details? Destiny said, no way, he's lying. Pangburn said, oh my gosh, Dave could get sued for slandering Destiny. Nope, what I said was true, and here's a quick summary of that and more before diving into all the details.
So Dave says what he says was true, and for the record, what Dave said in the original video was that he is currently, I'll do my best Dave voice, he is currently being sued for non-consensually sharing nudes of a minor. I think that's the cadence. I got to work on the tonality. Correction and assessment. The federal civil complaint, he says sharing nudes of a minor. See that? Sharing nudes of a minor. The federal civil complaint alleges non-consensual sharing of intimate material, but it does not allege that the plaintiff was a minor. That's a huge mistake. And Dave's like, nope, I did it right. What does he say first here? Destiny sent non-consensually recorded pornographic material. He says, ha, Dave says, Destiny sent non-consensually recorded pornographic material to a minor. We already have discovered this is not the case. And in the original video, Dave, you said, oh my God. You said he shared nudes of a minor. You didn't say he shared recorded pornographic material to a minor, but to a minor is still incorrect based on the contemporaneous record. If you knew how to study this stuff, which I'm sure you do, but for some reason you're leaving minor in there. Why are you leaving minor in there?
Destiny was caught sending non-consensually recorded pornographic material to a 17-year-old and receiving pornographic material from her as well.
So first of all, we're going to triple check if there is any reliable evidence that Destiny sent non-consensually recorded pornographic material to a minor and received pornographic material from her as well. In any case, whether Dave's confusing this with something else, if there's evidence of this anywhere, but we will triple check that. I'm pretty sure that's just bullshit. But again, just important for the record, Dave said he is currently being sued for non-consensually sharing nudes of a minor in the first original Destiny Loves Genocide video. So we're gonna check that. But Dave's twisting what he said originally. Let's see here. Okay. Subsequent discovery indicates that Discord persona Rose was operated by an adult male, Solo, who is impersonating a teenage woman whose photographs and sexual material he used. Rose testified that Solo showed her a handful of videos Bonnell had sent through the imposter account, and that she knew explicit material she created would be provided to Bonnell. Thus, there is evidence of sexual material passing in both directions through Solo while Rose was underage during that part of the period. However, the evidence does not establish that Bonnell was directly communicating with the minor or knowingly sending material directly to her. Most importantly, the sexual video at the center of Doe v. Bonnell was expressly described by the federal court as consensually recorded. The lawsuit concerns alleged non-consensual distribution, not non-consensual recording. The original fake persona Bonnell believed he was communicating with was represented as someone that was 19. I'm just trying to figure out where Dave got the 17 age from. Well, this will have to be litigated, but the original fake persona Bonnell believed he was communicating with was represented as around 19, not 17. This is why the original complaint itself called Rose a 19-year-old woman. The non-consensual portion. So the original complaint I'm seeing in the file is as a 19-year-old woman to whom Bonnell sent the Pixie video to, but it turned out that person was a catfish. Later litigation produced evidence that the real woman whose photographs and identity were being used by Rose. Oh, I see. Okay, so now we see later litigation produced evidence that the real woman whose photographs and identity were being used by the catfish, Rose, account was actually 17 during the part of that relevant period. But on record, from Bonnell's perspective, this person was presented to him as a 19-year-old woman. Okay, that's confusing. Original fake persona Bonnell believed he was communicating with was represented as a 19-year-old woman, not 17. Okay, so that's where the 17 number consensually recorded pornographic material to a minor and received pornographic material from her as well. Well, the fact is, Destiny did not send that material to a minor, Dave. Those aren't the facts of the case. He did not send the material to a minor. He sent the material to someone who is using this account, presenting themselves as a 19-year-old, and they were actually an older catfish. So wrong again, Dave. Also, you're misconstruing what you said in the initial video, Destiny Loves Genocide. You said he is also currently being sued for non-consensually sharing nudes of a minor. That was false. It's amazing that Dave doesn't correct himself here, and he just, like, does he think his audience is that stupid that they're not going to look for themselves at what he said in the last video versus what he said here? I hope that's not the reality of Dave's audience.
This qualifies as CSAM, or child sexual abuse material.
Wait, he said Destiny sent non-consensually recorded pornographic material to a minor and then received pornographic material from her as well? Dave, there is no actual minor involved in this case outside of someone hijacking, stealing the identity of a person's, it sounds like of a minor's Discord account and representing themselves as 19 and exchanging pornographic material. Why is Dave saying that this is CSAM? Shared CSAM on Discord in order to find the minor he desired for sex. Where does he get that part from? Oh, Dolly Parton died. We're going to triple check all of this, but Dave seems to be just fucking this shit up, and he seems to be desperate to make this CSAM thing happen. It's very weird. Don, you said she was 17 in the video. Where are you getting that information? That's not in the court filing. Let's see what Don's writing here. Yeah, I don't. What you guys are saying is not coherent to the data that is available. In this case, we'll look at. I'm going to look at the actual what Destiny received in response. Let me fact check what Don is saying here. If people are just saying if people are saying that these are things they've heard online from people say that Destiny received this, or someone sent this to him and he sent it back, but it hasn't been adjudicated yet. Like, I don't want to hear information that hasn't been professionally looked through. No, I didn't say the catfish used videos of Rose as a minor. No, I didn't. I did not say that. I'm going to continue with my fact checking. You guys in the comment section can sort out what you're trying to sort out there. So this idea that Destiny shared CSAM on Discord in order to find the minor he desired for sex is that's completely unestablished and materially misleading. That's the second part of Dave's claim here. With Pixie, the federal court expressly says the September 2020 sexual encounter was consensually recorded. The lawsuit concerns whether Bonnell subsequently distributed the video without Pixie's consent. Okay, we went through that. There is a separate Chiari, Chairi allegation. Cherry stated in January 2025 that an intimate audio recording had been made without her consent and shared without her consent. The allegation also appears in Pixie's complaint, but we have not found judicial finding establishing that allegation as fact. The original complaint described Rose as a 19-year-old woman, but the real young woman whose photographs were being used was eventually deposed under oath in October 2025. She testified that she never controlled the Discord account. She never sent any of the roughly 300 pages of messages to Destiny. She did not directly communicate with him. Her then boyfriend Solo was operating the account and impersonating her. And she agreed under oath that Bonnell had been catfished by Solo. The fake persona apparently represented herself to Bonnell as 18. The deposition record summarized in later filings that the relevant profile listed 18 and that Solo posing as Rose told Bonnell she was 18. So the immediate transmission chain was not Destiny underage girl. It was Destiny Discord account operated by adult male Solo who is impersonating a girl. According to their April 2026 filing, Rose testified that Solo showed her a handful of videos that Destiny sent through the imposter account. She also testified that she knew some explicit material she and others created would be provided by Solo to Bonnell. Therefore, this would also therefore the following claim would go too far. No sexual material ever passed between Destiny and the real Rose. Oh, I see. So the real Rose, the evidence is that indicates an intermediary relationship, Bonnell, Solo, Rose, and in other direction, Rose originated material, Solo, Bonnell. This is materially different from a direct sexual conversation between Bonnell and an underage woman. So Dave's received pornographic material from her has a kernel of evidentiary support, but it wasn't from her. It was from the catfish. But it does seem like some illegal CSAM might have been sent by this this catfish of his girlfriend at the time to Destiny. It has not been established that Destiny had any knowledge he was interacting with a minor's account. The sworn deposition evidence summarized in the record indicates that Solo's fake persona represented Rose as an 18, an adult. There are also earlier leaked messages in which Bonnell apparently questioned the persona's age and remarked on her youthful appearance. Those circumstances may be legitimately relevant to whether he exercised sufficient caution, but they don't establish that he knew she was under 18. Contemporary reporting before the catfish discovery presented competing allegations. Critics claimed she was actually 17, while Destiny's position was that the person represented herself as an adult. So, quote, Destiny exchanged explicit material involving a woman who was actually underage during at least part of the relevant period may be supportable with careful dating, but Destiny knowingly sexted and received sexual material from a 17-year-old is not established, and that is what Dave is trying to depict here. Were those particular images legally CSAM? Okay, that hasn't been established. So no, good God. It hasn't even been established that CSAM is involved in this case. There was an allegation towards that. Federal law requires a visual depiction involving a minor engaged in sexually explicit conduct. Sexually explicit conduct has a statutory definition including sexual acts and certain lascivious exhibitions. Therefore, to establish Dave's statement, we would need to establish about the specific images Bonnell redistributed. The real person depicted was under 18 when those particular images were created, and the images met the statutory standard for sexually explicit conduct. There are online allegations that uncensored explicit photographs were circulated in the identification group, including claims that another participant told Bonnell to censor an image. But at present, we can trace that proposition principally to partisan Reddit discussions rather than a judicial finding or a primary authenticated record. That's not enough for us to accuse someone as a factual matter of distributing CSAM. This is precisely the sort of allegation where the standard should be extremely high. Therefore, quote, Destiny distributed legally qualifying CSAM on Discord has not been established. God, people throw these fucking claims around, man. So anyone believing CSAM claims about this is just believing Reddit talk, claims online. This stuff hasn't been professionally adjudicated. So people should stop spreading that misinformation. So Dave's claim. So yeah, this graphic by Dave, seriously misleading. This is defamatory. Like, this is hardcore defamation. Hardcore defamation. So there is evidence Destiny participated in an effort to locate/identify Rose, and that the real young woman was consequently exposed despite actually being Solo's identity theft victim. That deserves criticism. But we have not found publication grade evidence establishing that the material Destiny circulated in that identification effort legally constituted CSAM. And we have found no evidence that the purpose of the later search was to locate the woman for sex. His prior sexual interest concerned a fake persona that represented itself to him as an adult. That's where we're at. This is bullshit. This is bullshit. So again, how Dave framed this, Destiny sent non-consensually recorded pornographic material to a minor and received pornographic material from her as well. Not been demonstrated. People are just making these claims on the internet. Shared CSAM on Discord in order to find the minor he desired for sex. Just purely defamatory, based on rumors, hasn't been adjudicated. People are saying, it's not defamatory in the slightest. Are you kidding me? Do we need to go through what the legal requirements for defamation are in the United States? All right. So defamation is mainly a state law, but the First Amendment imposes nationwide constitutional limits. The exact elements vary by state, but the standard framework is fairly consistent. A plaintiff generally needs to establish something close to following: a statement of fact about the plaintiff, which we have here. The statement must reasonably be understood as referring to that person. We have it here, crystal clear. Pure rhetorical abuse, obvious hyperbole, or statements that cannot reasonably be interpreted as asserting actual facts are generally protected. But simply saying, quote, in my opinion, does not immunize a factual accusation. The Supreme Court made that clear in Milkovich versus Lorraine Journal. So one more time. Pure rhetorical abuse, obvious hyperbole. I think this would consist of pure rhetorical abuse, obvious hyperbole, or statements that cannot reasonably be interpreted as asserting actual facts. I don't think these can be reasonably interpreted as representing actual facts. Publication to at least one third party. Publication does not mean newspaper publication, saying it on YouTube, X, a podcast, stream, email, Discord, etc. can qualify. So this obviously can meet the publication requirement. Falsity. A substantially true statement generally cannot support defamation liability. On matters of public concern, constitutional doctrine generally places the burden of proving falsity on the plaintiff. So we have direct falsity here. Defamatory meaning. The statement must be capable of harming the person's reputation, roughly lowering them in the estimation of others, exposing them to contempt, or damaging professional/social standing. And fault. This is where the public/private distinction becomes crucial. For a private person, states generally may use a negligent standard. The speaker failed to exercise reasonable care concerning whether the accusation was true. The Constitution does not allow strict liability. For a public official or public figure, the plaintiff generally must prove actual malice by clear and convincing evidence. That means the defendant either knew the statement was false or recklessly disregarded whether it was true or false. If I was Destiny's lawyer, I would be arguing that Dave recklessly disregarded whether this was true or false. It does not mean ordinary hatred, spite, hostility, or malice in the everyday sense. That rule originates in New York Times Company v. Sullivan and was extended to public figures. Damages. Although how much must actually be proved depends greatly on the jurisdiction and the character of the accusation. Some historically serious accusations can qualify as defamation per se, where reputational injury may receive special treatment under state law. Constitutional rules, nevertheless, limit presumed and punitive damages, particularly where actual malice has not been proved. The quote, actual malice requirement is especially important. Suppose somebody falsely says of a public political commentator, he knowingly distributed child pornography. In here, Dave says, shared CSAM on Discord in order to find the minor he desired for sex. Even if that accusation is horribly defamatory and demonstrably false, a public figure plaintiff ordinarily still has to prove that the speaker knew it was false or subjectively entertained serious doubts about its truth and published anyway. Mere carelessness usually isn't enough, but actual malice can be established circumstantially. Evidence can become important if, for example, the speaker possesses source material directly contradicting the accusation, deliberately changes source wording, is repeatedly corrected and continues making the same factual allegation, like we corrected Dave on the actual record about this already, relies on obvious unreliable evidence, like claims on Reddit, etc., fabricates quotations or sources. I think there's major fabrication here. Consciously avoids evidence because they fear it will disprove the accusation, kind of like digging your heels in, like Dave is doing here, or makes an inherently improbable accusation while having serious doubts about it. Importantly, failure to investigate by itself usually does not equal actual malice. The inquiry is substantially subjective. What did the defendant actually know or seriously suspect about falsity? Defamation disproved. Case dismissed. Professor Dave, judge, jury, and executioner.
He also shared that CSAM with his friends in a private Discord in order to find the minor he was soliciting. He tried repeatedly to fly her out to be with him, despite making no attempt to confirm she wasn't underage.
I need that last piece.
Pornographic material to a 17-year-old and receiving pornographic material from her as well. This qualifies as CSAM, or child sexual abuse material.
Someone just said, you think Destiny could prove in court that Dave knew he was lying? No. Did you miss this part? So for public official or public figure, the plaintiff generally must prove actual malice by clear and convincing evidence. That means the defendant either knew the statement was false, that's what you're talking about, needing to prove that he was lying, or recklessly disregarded whether it was true or false. Recklessly disregarded whether it was true or false.
He also shared that CSAM with his friends in a private Discord in order to find the minor he was soliciting. He tried
the minor he was soliciting. Why do I feel like there's going to be no reliable evidence that this happened? This idea that he tried repeatedly to fly her to him for sex despite no confirmation of age. Well, we already know that he had confirmation of age. This person said that they were 18. In some accounts I'm reading 19. So I already know this part from Dave, despite no confirmation of age, is incorrect based on the available evidence. No, Dave does not have to know that the statement is false. Do more reading. Or recklessly disregarded whether it was true or false. I think there is reckless disregard here. The real Rose's sworn deposition shows that Destiny explicitly asked Rose account for her age. The person operating the account said 18. Okay? That is the evidence that's available. Did Destiny try to fly them out once he knew that this person was 18? Yes, that is supported. And yeah, the contemplated meeting likely involved sex. Destiny offered to pay for a flight to Miami. That is supported. But Dave says he repeatedly tried to arrange flights. That hasn't been established by the evidence. That's another falsehood from Dave. Talk about playing fast and loose with other people's lives. Holy fuck. This is really bad. This is really fucking well. I mean, my recommendation to Steven, someone who I work with, very friendly with, I think he has a knock out of the park defamation suit here. In fact, just for shits and giggles, I'm probably going to send it to a particular lawyer I know in New York City to take a little peek at it. And any of you out there that have formed positive beliefs that child pornography was in fact involved in this, when that evidence is not available, you really need to have a serious check with yourself about the kind of epistemic standards you are operating with and the kinds of things that you are vulnerable to if you're getting your shit from message boards on Reddit and from people just throwing around claims like they're fact on the internet. Yeah, I mean, when Don says Destiny should also send him a stop order, the person I'm going to send this to, who loves public cases like this, is probably going to recommend that as well. Unbelievable. Like, this is so fucking immoral. It's unbelievable. It really, really bothers me. Someone just said it was established that Rose created CSAM material as a minor, just not that it was sent to Destiny. Yeah, it would not surprise me if a 17-year-old would admit to taking photographs of themselves like that, or video. Underage people should not be doing that, but I'm not shocked if that is the case, but I'm going to look for that and see if that's a fact. CSAM is not yet established. Let's see. It was established? The statement that it was established that Rose created CSAM material as a minor, just that it was not sent to Destiny, is too strong based on the public record we can verify. What is established more strongly is that the real Rose was 17 during at least part of her relationship with Solo. And her deposition, is this Solo person going to be fucking charged with anything, by the way? God, that catfishing shit pisses me off. And her deposition indicates that images/videos she created herself were shared with Solo, and that she knew of some of her material would be passed along to Bonnell. Plaintiffs, no mention of CSAM yet. Plaintiff's April 2026 filing relies on exactly that testimony, but that does not automatically establish that the material legally constituted CSAM. Under federal law, CSAM, still termed, quote, child pornography in the statute, requires a visual depiction of a person under 18 engaged in sexually explicit conduct. That includes intercourse, masturbation, sadomasochistic conduct, or a lascivious exhibition of the genitals/pubic area. Mere nudity or sexualized photographs do not automatically satisfy the federal definition. The evidentiary gap to say definitively, quote, Rose created CSAM while she was a minor, we would need to establish, by the way, these are people we're talking about that are involved here. Don't just say shit like it was established that Rose created CSAM material as a minor, unless you're damn sure about it. We would need to establish both age, she was under 18 when the particular images/videos were made, and content those particular images/videos depicted, legally qualifying sexually explicit conduct. The public findings we've recovered establish the age issue in general and establish that she made images/videos of herself. They also place the exchanges in an explicitly sexual context, but I've not found a court filing or sufficiently clear authenticated description of the specific material establishing that it satisfied 2256 CSAM definition. That means we should currently classify Rose created sexually explicit material while underage, not established. So it would be false to claim that as a fact. Someone said, bro, this is the internet. Barely anyone is sure about anything they say. They should be. Just because you're on the internet doesn't give you the right to go around spouting off misinformation about people's sexuality and things they may or may not have done as a minor. Have some fucking moral fortitude. Bathroom break. This is the kind of misinformation that can completely ruin people's lives. And I think what Dave has done here is disgustingly reckless. He had a chance to fix the misinformation he gave in the first video. He had a chance. Dave said he is also currently being sued for non-consensually sharing nudes of a minor. That was wrong. It had nothing to do with non-consensually sharing nudes of a minor. And then listen to how Dave frames this. Like, yeah, it's just like I said.
Oh my gosh, Dave could get sued for slandering Destiny. Nope, what I said was true, and here's a quick summary of that and more before diving into all the details. Destiny was...
So, Dave has decided to dig his heels in on something that he further went and did more work to find information about this. He's not admitting that he was wrong about the sharing nudes of a minor part.
Was caught sending non-consensually recorded pornographic material to a 17-year-old and receiving pornographic material from her as well. This qualifies as CSAM, or child sexual abuse material. He also shared that CSAM with his friends in a private Discord in order to find the minor he was soliciting. He tried repeatedly to fly her out to be with him, despite making no attempt to confirm she wasn't underage. Next, he was sexting...
Dave, you've been debunked. We're going to keep going through this. This is really bad. I don't think people should get away with this. Dave has opened himself up here. Texting with the wife of a groyper, and it involved age play, molestation, fantasy involving her children.
The wife of a groyper, which is like those Nick Fuentes types, and it involved age play molestation fantasies focused on her own children. His ex-girlfriend saw the messages between the two, as well as beach photos of the wife's teenage daughters and their feet.
We're going to take a look at that as well.
I don't shame people for their fetishes or sexual preferences, but I do shame them for violating consent and for stuff with minors. So let's dig through the receipts for all this shit. Okay, first up, Destiny knows that you need consent from people to share pornographic material that features them, right?
I kind of have my little archive of Coomer material that I'll send to people if I want to. There were girls that I talked to past that I'd send stuff of either me or Melina. And Melina talked to me and she was like, hey, if you're going to send any videos to new girls that we haven't talked about, let me know that first. Because she wanted to be careful. And so I was like, oh, okay, sure. That's fine. I didn't think of it at the time because I didn't think it mattered. But yeah, sure. So I thought about that. So that was an issue that me and Melina had.
So the wording by Dave is sexting with the wife of a groyper, and it involved age play molestation fantasies involving her children. Dave's wording is too strong for the evidence that we can verify. It combines a reasonably supported adult sexting roleplay story with a much more serious allegation that the fantasy specifically involves sexual abuse of the woman's real children. I'm going to give this screenshot as well. Oh, I'm at the max length. I wonder how many people out there were hoping that I would just not actually fact check all this and just be like, oh, wow, yeah, this sounds horrible. These rumors that are being passed around about Destiny. Okay, we're going to do these two screenshots together.
That we talked about and then we resolved, right?
Oh, good. He does know that, except he has violated this consent with an incredible number of people, including his ex-wife, Melina.
Things.
Incredible amount of people?
That's been done to me without consent or anything. that has been my past 5 years. Nothing has happened with consent.
Sorry, I want to go back to this.
Things that's been done to me without consent or anything. that has been my past 5 years. Nothing has happened with consent with anyone, not me and not anyone else. There's been no consent.
Okay, so who was
What was she talking about there?
wife Melina.
Things that's been done to me.
Where's the fucking context?
Without consent or
Things that have been done to me without consent.
anything.
This has been 5 years.
That has been my past 5 years. Nothing has happened with consent with anyone, not me and not anyone else. Like there's been no consent.
Okay.
There's no context as to what's being discussed there.
Okay, so who was well into his 30s Destiny sharing non-consensual pornography with back in April 2022? A trusted long-term partner, perhaps? Nope, meet Rose, a brand new Twitter account looking very suspicious for an 18-year-old selling not safe for work material. Even Thirsty Destiny seemed suspicious, but not quite enough. 1-day-old account seems legit. No ID, no problem. Just write something on a piece of paper. That's good enough for me. It's not like I'm getting off on you.
Why is that so hard to read? That's going to affect the size on here. That's okay. I just need to be able to see this. You're hot as fuck, but 18, what the fuck? All flattered.
You being underage or anything.
But wait a second.
With consent with anyone, not me and not anyone else. Like there's been no consent.
Okay, so who was well into his 30s Destiny sharing non-consensual...
That was propaganda, by the way, in the way that Milena, his ex-wife, was just shared there. That's just propaganda. There's no context there. If what we need to know is what she is talking about with regards to consent. Like, I didn't consent to that. My life has been no consent.
Pornography with back in April 2022. A trusted long-term partner, perhaps? Nope, meet Rose, a brand new...
Not safe for work tweet. New to not safe for work tweet. 18-year-old. She, her. Bi. Always horny. Looking to meet cool people. Follow me to get to know me. What does Dave say about not safe for work?
Twitter account looking very suspicious for an 18-year-old...
He publicly acknowledged that he knew this hashtag meant underage porn. Not safe for work. TWT. Let's take a look at that. I'm too much of a boomer. I have to look all of this up. Okay, so regarding this issue, sexting with the wife as a groyper, and it involved age play, molestation fantasies involving her children. The available evidence supports some sexual messaging and an allegation of adult age play role play, but the evidence does not presently support the strongest formulation, especially, quote, molestation fantasies involving her children. The overall verdict is, well, let's see here. So Destiny sexted a woman referred to as Brit. That's substantially corroborated, though primary logs are not publicly established here. She was married at the time, apparently supported by the surrounding public dispute. Her husband was a groyper, needs better sourcing. Political label is not established by these screenshots. Destiny and Brit engaged in, quote, age play. There's an attributed statement saying this, but provenance/authentication remains an issue. The role play involved pretending to be step-parents to their respective children. Attributed to Brit in circulated material needs primary authentication. The role play specifically involved molestation, not established by the screenshots shown. The sexual fantasies involved Brit's actual children as sexual objects, not established. Brit sent pictures of her daughters to Destiny. A witness in the screenshots claims she personally saw this. The photos were swimsuit photos and close-ups of feet claimed in the screenshots, but we cannot independently authenticate the underlying images. Destiny asked her to send those pictures. No evidence shown. The witness explicitly says there were no surrounding messages from him. Destiny sexualized those photographs, not established. Counterpoints, quote, he likes feet comment proves sexual intent toward the photos. No, that's insinuation, not evidence. My God, if you took this before a judge with just this, he would be like, get the fuck out of here, idiots. So people are just making claims online about this. It's possible they're true, but this hasn't been adjudicated. The evidence hasn't been provided. We have 2 screenshots here of people making these claims. And Dave states it like it's a fact. Sexting with the wife of a groyper and involve age play, molestation fantasies involving her children. The role play specifically involved molestation. That's not established by the screenshots. The sexual fantasy involved Brit's actual children as sexual objects. That's not established. So here's the publication safe summary of this situation. Public discussions substantially corroborate that Destiny engaged in at least one sexting interaction with a married woman referred to as Brit. Circulated material attributed to Brit describes the interaction as, quote, pretty taboo age play, and reportedly references a step-parent scenario involving their respective children. Separately, a witness claims she saw Brit send Destiny ordinary photographs of her daughters in bathing suits and close-ups of their feet. Critically, that witness says she saw no messages from Destiny soliciting or responding to those photographs. The available screenshots do not establish that the photographs were sexual, that Destiny requested them, or that the adults' role play specifically involved fantasies of molesting Brit's actual children. I want to know where Dave's getting that from. What the fuck? Moreover, the ex-husband, who supplied counterpoints with some of the more severe details, reportedly later admitted that he had not seen the roleplay logs and had exaggerated or fabricated portions of what he told counterpoints. Oh. Until the original roleplay messages are authenticated, the claim of, quote, molestation fantasies involving her children should be classified as unestablished. Okay, maybe those claims came from him. Okay, then we're going to look at, so I mean, not established, not established, not established. If people want to come forward, like, if people believe this to be actually the case, go to the police. Give the evidence to the police. Why is Dave Farina sharing it on YouTube? But based on what Dave provided, based on what's available on the internet that I can see, the sexting with Brit, likely established. Age play, credibly alleged. Step-parent fantasy, credibly alleged. Photos of daughters sent, authenticated. First-hand witness claim. We haven't seen the screenshots. Destiny solicited those photos. No evidence shown. Photos were sexual, not established. Molestation roleplay involving actual daughters, not established. Husband's original worst case description, seriously impeached by reported later retraction. Maybe that's where that horrible molestation roleplay involving actual daughters came from. Maybe that's where it came from. Let's see. Was the husband's original worst case description related to where molested? Wife of a Groyper. We don't know that. Bunch of fucking misinformation still in all of this. God, it's frustrating. Scooping up Dave's shit, cleaning him up. All right. Now this other graphic that's on the screen right now, was that the full graphic the red annotation material that you're seeing on the screen there is materially misleading as written. It takes a real piece of evidence that Destiny publicly encountered a Twitter sub-community in which minors were posting sexualized material and appears to conflate two different hashtags. So the single missing M substantially changes the fact check. So this idea that what Dave's pointing to, that NSFWTWT meant, quote, underage porn, is false. Hashtag NSFWTWT was general NSFW, not safe for work, adult sexual content Twitter community. That's supported. Minors nevertheless use NSFWTWT despite it normally being 18 plus. That is supported. MNS, I think this is just more shitty work by Dave. MNSFWTWT was specifically a minor version of not safe for work Twitter. That's supported. Destiny publicly learned about minors posting sexualized material on Twitter in January 2022. That's supported. The evidence establishes that the hashtag he publicly discussed was exactly NSFWTWT shown in Dave's graphic. No, that's not established. The evidence points to hashtag MNSFWTWT. Therefore, Destiny knew a particular later hashtag NSFWTWT user was a minor. Does not follow, Dave. This is so fucking disgusting. I can't believe. I think there are so many Destiny haters out there that would love to just believe this shit and not do the work. But this is fucking bullshit. It's fucking brain dead bullshit. I mean, there's still more time left in the video here, but based on what we've uncovered so far here, there's such a treasure trove of defamatory information here that it's fucking brutal. What Destiny actually knew before the later interaction. There is evidence favorable to Dave's broader point that Destiny knew something about this hashtag. On January 2nd, 2022, several months before the later interaction being discussed, a Destiny stream clip circulated under the contemporaneous title, Destiny discovers that minors are posting lewds on Twitter. The archived r/livestream fail thread links directly to the original Twitch clip. The contemporary discussion makes clear what viewers understood him to have discovered. Accounts belonging to minors posting sexualized material, with commenters discussing accounts advertising or selling nude images. So this following proposition is supportable. By January 2022, Destiny was publicly aware that minors were participating in sexualized Twitter communities and posting or advertising sexual material. I know Twitter has had a long history of problems with that and not managing that problem properly. And then Dave goes on to say, he has publicly acknowledged that he knew this hashtag meant underage porn. He's getting the fucking hashtag wrong. Oh, man. So let's go through this. Destiny publicly became aware by January 2022 that minors were posting sexualized material in Twitter, not safe for work communities. However, Dave's graphic appears to conflate hashtag NSFWTWT, the general NSFW Twitter community nominally intended for adults, with hashtag MNSFWTWT, a separate minor-specific NSFW community. Contemporary sources explicitly distinguish the two. Consequently, the statement that Destiny admitted hashtag NSFWTWT itself, quote, meant underage porn is not supported. His prior awareness that minors used adjacent sexual content communities may be relevant circumstantial context. Again, his prior awareness that minors used adjacent sexual content communities may be relevant circumstantial context, but it does not establish that he knew a particular later hashtag NSFWTWT user was underage. So this is false material hashtag conflation. Yes, Peter Thiel is paying me. So is Israel. So are the Nazis. Everybody's paying me. This is madness. Dave. Holy fuck, man. So it is likely the case that that child molestation part of that other issue likely did come from the husband's original worst case description. It's plausible. The more severe molestation characterization appears to derive substantially from additional details supplied by Britt's husband or ex-husband to counterpoints/others, because the husband reportedly later conceded that he had not personally seen the roleplay logs and had exaggerated portions of his account. This escalation should not be treated as established without recovery of the original roleplay messages.
Selling not safe for work material. Even Thirsty Destiny seemed suspicious.
You're hot as fuck, but what the fuck? Also, one day old account. Looks like they probably said something. Ooh, well, I mean, I'm flattered. If you wanted to, yeah, sure. Preferably one near an ID, so I know you're at least 18. That's actually very responsible. But I understand if that's too much, be comfortable showing. I understand if, yeah, that's fine. I obviously the messages in between have been deleted. So saying, yeah, that's writing something on a piece. Yeah, I mean, you don't need proof of ID from people in these situations. But I also understand how people don't want to give people their IDs. Yes, it is very responsible to ask for ID, but I also understand why people wouldn't want to send it. Clarifying the age is very important. If at any time during courting, dating, whatever, you have doubts about their age, you must breach this topic again with them. That's very important.
Suspicious, but not quite enough. 1 day old account seems legit. No ID, no problem. Just write something on a piece of paper. That's good enough for me. It's not like I'm getting off on.
Yeah, Dave, he doesn't have to get the ID of someone he's interested in that is telling him that he's that they are of legal age. What world is Dave living in?
You being underage or anything. Destiny often claims she said she was 19. He's lying. So, barely even knowing this obviously underage person, he starts sending the porn. Lots of it.
Obviously underage person? Why is this an obviously underage person? They just told this person, Destiny, that they were 18. Obviously, because I'm Dave Farina and I know better. Based on what?
Some non-consensually filmed, the rest non-consensually shared.
Let's take these claims.
And receiving it too. Anyway, exchanging porn is fun and all, but Destiny wants to bang.
What happened to my screen? Oh, there we go.
Bang. Where are you? Fly to me with my frequent flyer miles? I'm gonna be in some other places. Fly there to meet me? How about this place? Let's meet.
Yeah, Dave, this is a 18-year-old. This is someone who has told Destiny that they are 18. So regarding the claim that Dave put down, number one, some non-consensually filmed content was shared with Rose, and two, lots of non-consensually shared content. We'll check that. So at least one separate woman has alleged that intimate material was recorded without her consent, although that allegation has not been adjudicated, and its connection to the Rose file set requires further proof. Number two, Bonnell admittedly sent intimate material involving sexual partners to the account he believed was Rose. Pixie alleges one such consensually recorded video was shared without her permission. Multiple additional women later alleged unauthorized distribution of intimate material, but the consent status of every video contained in the broader 2024 leak has not been established. So back to the captions. Number one, some non-consensually filmed content that is alleged, not established as part of the Rose set. Lots of non-consensually shared content, directionally supported, but overstated as a settled fact.
Let's meet. He's relentless about it, but she just says her parents won't let her or something of the sort. Later, he will give photos of her to the website Kiwi Farms for them to figure out who and where she is, which qualifies as doxing. He wasn't even censoring her genitals when he did so.
Go back.
Flyer miles? I'm going to be in some other places. Fly there to meet me? How about this place? Let's meet. He's relentless about it, but she just says her parents.
However, Kiwi Farms users began to suspect she might underage. God, this is a fucking catfish doing this shit.
Parents won't let her or something of the sort. Later, he will give photos of her to the website Kiwi Farms for them to figure out who and where she.
What the hell is Kiwi Farms, by the way? Community dedicated to discussing eccentric people who voluntarily make fools of themselves, explore abnormal psychology, and the minds of internet crazies. I know nothing about internet crazies. Interesting. Okay. What did Dave say about this?
Some non-consensually filmed, the rest non-consensually shared, and receiving it too. Anyway, exchanging porn is fun and all, but Destiny wants to bang. Where are you? Fly to me with my frequent flyer miles? I'm gonna be in some other places. Fly there to meet me? How about this place? Let's meet. He's relentless about it, but she just says her parents won't let her or something of the sort. Later, he will give photos of her to the website Kiwi Farms for them to figure out who and where she is, which.
Sorry, done schizophrenia posting. I'm in here. Good luck. Destiny. Also, one more pick. I'm not in this one either, if you can tell. Okay, good luck. Good luck. Also, I never said that pic posted was of me. It was a pic they sent from their school. Supposedly, they were working on a KFS ability to investigate anything. Is super pathetic. I thought it was some crazy investigator shit, but Now I realized it was just no life obsessively stalking all of my social media that allowed someone to do it. Easy to do when you live on permanent disability. Good luck. She went to Rock Valley College. It's funny they want more to go on. It's funny because they think I'm hiding stuff about Rose since she's underage. The only reason I haven't actually mentioned much about her is because I know it makes those retards dig harder. Okay, so let me do the Kiwi Farms thing too. God, I really hope in some way this catfisher gets nailed for this. Okay, yeah. So this screenshot Dave provided from, it says, however, Kiwi Farms users began to suspect she might have been underage at the time. At the time, due to several red flags. These included leaker, quote, Solo, claiming Rose was 17 when she exchanged sexual material with Destiny. Rose mentioning to Destiny that she was about to have her braces removed, and Solo stating that Destiny had repeatedly tried to fly her out for sex, which she refused, citing her parents as being, quote, too strict. These logs include Destiny sending and soliciting sexual videos of a minor and repeatedly offering to fly her out to Miami for sex. According to Solo, she turned down these requests because her parents would not let. So these logs include Destiny. This is just some screenshot of some claim that later this has not been demonstrated, of a minor and repeatedly offering to fly her out. Yeah, this person that said that they were 18 to Destiny. So the screenshot is substantially outdated by later sworn discovery in Doe v. Bonnell. It was built around the assumption that the person typing as Rose was the real young woman whose photos were being used. Her October 23rd, 2025 deposition materially undermined that premise. She testified that she never messaged or spoke with Bonnell and that an adult UK man, quote, Solo, was operating the Rose persona account. So the screenshot claim versus the current assessment. So Rose was 17 when she exchanged sexual material with Destiny is misleading as phrased. Solo claimed, Solo made the claim that she was 17. Apparently, yes, but Solo is a badly impeached source. Oh man, someone has to hold this Solo person accountable. Rose told Destiny she was about to have braces removed. A message may say this, but it was Solo operating the persona, not verified testimony from the real Rose. Real Rose declined because her parents were too strict. That's not established. That explanation came through Solo's impersonation. Destiny directly solicited sexual videos from a 17-year-old girl. Not established. Destiny knowingly sent sexual videos to a minor. Not established. Explicit images / videos of the real Rose were apparently supplied through Solo to Bonnell. Her depositions supports an awareness of this, but we don't know about specific. All right, back to this. Where are we? So the most. Okay, we already did that. Okay, I think there was a question of doxing here, right?
Which qualifies as doxing.
So was this doxing? This becomes partly definitional if by doxing you mean publicly disclosing or intentionally facilitating discovery of identifying information about a pseudonymous private person. Then there's a strong case that his conduct was part of the doxing process. He posted photographs, identified the college, provided other educational clues, expressly said that they were for investigators to have, quote, more to go on, encouraged them with good luck. Kiwi Farms users subsequently identified the real woman. The real woman later described the consequences of her identity becoming public, but there is a useful distinction. Destiny supplied clues and encouraged the investigation versus Kiwi Farms investigators performed the subsequent open source identification and published additional personal information. Both can contribute to a doxing episode without being identical acts. There is an important motive / context favorable to Destiny. He apparently did not know at this time that the real woman was an innocent identity theft victim. Remember the chronology. November 2024, the intimate material is leaked by Solo Tiny Leaks. May 2025, 2025. Destiny still apparently believes Rose was a genuine person connected to the account and potentially connected to whoever leaked his material. He therefore wants to identify her. October 23rd, 2025. The real woman is finally deposed. She reveals she never communicated with Destiny at all. Solo had impersonated her, so it would be unfair to describe his May conduct as, quote, Destiny knew this was an innocent trafficking / catfishing victim and deliberately sent Kiwi Farms after her anyway. That knowledge came later. His apparent perspective in May was, this person may be connected to the individual who leaked my private sexual material, and I want to find out who she is. That provides an intelligible motive. It doesn't automatically justify publicly crowdsourcing the identification of a private person, but it matters when evaluating his intent. Irks says, please investigate Kiwi Farms. Thank you so much for the super chat. Destiny and Kiwi Farms have history. Okay, I'll take a look at that. Thank you very much for the super chat. All right, we'll check that now. All right, guess we can listen to more here.
Wasn't even censoring her genitals when he did so, despite having firm reason to believe it was CSAM. He later claimed
he did not have firm reason to believe that it was CSAM. That's not been demonstrated. Dave, you're talking like the CSAM thing is a fact here. Unbelievable. Kiwi Farms has had a long-running, overwhelmingly adversarial relationship with Destiny, but it is more complicated than Destiny versus Kiwi Farms because Destiny has also read it, posted in his own thread there, used information originating there, and at particular moments shared an enemy with its users. For the Rose issue, that history matters a lot because Kiwi Farms was not the same neutral group of investigators Destiny innocently happened to crowdsource to. He knew for years that his dedicated Kiwi Farms thread was hostile and interested in identifying people around him. Kiwi Farms created a dedicated Destiny thread in 2017. Destiny says his dedicated Kiwi Farms thread began on May 17th, 2017. In his own 2022 retrospective, he described himself as a victim of Kiwi Farms harassment for 5 years and said the thread included attempts to identify / dox his wife, attempts to identify / dox his child's mother, accusations of pedophilia, numerous other allegations about his private life. He also noted that his own Kiwi Farms account had a reaction score of around minus 875, which is unusually negative and strongly indicates that the site's regular user base did not regard him as one of their own. That is unusually useful evidence because it comes from Destiny himself, not an anti-Destiny critic. The thread remains old today. Destiny and Kiwi Farms owner Joshua Moon, quote, null, were also personally hostile. This is a very strong piece of evidence. In his 2022 manifesto, Destiny said Joshua Moon has stated that the world would be better with Destiny dead. He would not speak to Destiny. He wished Destiny would be, quote, set on fire. And Moon personally entered Destiny's thread to insult him. Destiny cited those examples specifically to rebut claims that Null has Destiny's back. So we can independently see some of that antagonism in archived Kiwi Farms pages. In August 2022, Moon entered Destiny's thread and argued directly with him over his relationships, insisting that the forum's derogatory label for Destiny was deserved. So we should reject Destiny and Kiwi Farms owners were allies / friends. All right. Thank you for the super chat. Holy fuck. Oops. Oh, there we go. All right. What else?
that he was baiting them into looking, which would be stupid if he knew she was 17, and indeed it was, since he never verified her age because he didn't want to know.
Dave, he did verify her age. I've already been through the CSAM issue, Don. CSAM has not been demonstrated in this case.
No. Then in November 2024, we meet Solo, Rose's boyfriend. Solo started by confronting him about the stuff with Rose.
Don, if you have counter evidence to that, please send it to me on Discord. But I mean, I adjudicated all of that, all the CSAM claims.
She was underage, and you knew it. Destiny figured Solo was just trying to scare him, so he ignored it. Then 5 days later, Solo persists and then leaks all the porn Destiny sent to Rose. Destiny doesn't seem to care much. What's the worst that could happen? Enter Destiny doesn't seem to care much. What's the worst that could happen? To the website Kiwi Farms for them to figure out who and where she is, which qualifies as doxing. He wasn't even censoring her genitals when he did so, despite having firm reason to believe it was CSAM. He later claimed that he was baiting them into looking, which would be stupid if he knew she was 17, and indeed it was.
Donald says, can we not recognize, though, that while legally doesn't need an ID, morally should have demanded it? No, I don't think adults need to demand to see each other's IDs. No, I don't. That's the case. I think it's important that you verify the age of the person. And if at any point, as things move forward, whatever happens, if at any point you have any question that this person is underage, everything should stop and seek further verification. No, I don't think adults need to require IDs from each other. Someone says, you understand that is the law to require an ID? Two consenting adults need to show each other IDs. Where do you think that is the law? I'm checking the entire United States of America.
Since he never verified her age because he didn't want to know. Then in November 2020,
Dave, he did verify her age. There's no general U.S. law requiring two consenting adults to show each other government ID before having sex, sexting, exchanging nude images, or otherwise engaging in ordinary private consensual sexual activity. Of course, the person using, like, have you guys not listened to any of the fact checking I've been doing? The chat is just full of trolls, I think, right now. So you need to be 18 in the United States. Federal law defines a minor as anyone under 18 for child sexual exploitation and CSAM laws. A 17-year-old may legally consent to sex in some states, but sexually explicit images of that same 17-year-old can still constitute CSAM under federal law. So, and the question in this case has been, is there any demonstration that CSAM has been distributed? We went through that in great detail, and the answer is no. That has not been demonstrated. It seems like I have to run through this again, so I guess I'll scroll all the way up. No, fuck it. Why am I'm not doing this again. You guys can go back in the video if you didn't follow. It'll all be included in the final report.
Before we meet Solo, Rose's boyfriend. Solo started by confronting him about the stuff with Rose. She was underage, and you knew it. Destiny figured Solo was just trying to scare him, so he ignored it. Then 5 days later, Solo persists and then leaks all the porn Destiny sent to Rose. Destiny doesn't seem to care much. What's the worst that could happen? Enter Pixie, aka Jane Doe from the lawsuit. She found out Destiny shared her pornography without explicit consent and was not pleased. He usually counters this with some song and dance about implied consent since she shared things with him, but it's bullshit. She had consent to share, he didn't. Cherry, Stasia, Abby MC, these are other women who were also exposed in the same revenge porn leak to Rose. Plenty of incriminating testimony here, all saying he did not have permission. Destiny non-consensually...
So he's putting up the same graphic again. Number one is wrong. This hasn't been demonstrated that Destiny sent non-consensually recorded pornographic material to a minor and received pornographic material from her as well. That has not been demonstrated. Shared CSAM on Discord in order to find the minor he desired for sex. That has not been demonstrated. Tried repeatedly to fly her to him for sex despite no confirmation of age. The repeatedly is overstated. He's putting up the same graphic. And there was a confirmation of age. We already demonstrated that. Destiny asked what the age was, and they confirmed that they were 18. So for anyone that keeps saying CSAM out there, anyone, please listen carefully. Here's the graphic claim, and then we'll do verdict. Quote, Destiny sent non-consensually recorded pornographic material. False regarding Pixie's video. It was consensually recorded. Was it sent to a minor? This was sent to an adult catfisher impersonating someone who said they were 18. The video of Pixie and Destiny, and received pornographic material from The catfish account that was said to be an 18-year-old, there is potentially material involving the real Rose that reached him through Solo, but this has not been verified. We know that it's a plausibility that material involving the real Rose went to Destiny, but we don't know what that material is. CSAM has not been demonstrated. Again, another claim. Shared CSAM on Discord to find the miner. That's not established. Destiny organized people to identify Rose. That's supported. Destiny supplied photos identifying clues. That's supported. Those search images were proven CSAM, not established. He organized the 2025 search because he still wanted sex with her, not established. So that's the information. This will be included in the report, okay?
Recorded some content and shared that and other content non-consensually.
Dave, just to do this one more time, you said Destiny sent non-consensually recorded pornographic material to a minor and received pornographic material from her as well. That has not been demonstrated. Shared CSAM on Discord in order to find the minor he desired for sex. Not been demonstrated. Tried repeatedly is overstated. He tried on occasions to fly her to him for what would probably include sex, despite no confirmation of age. He did confirm this person's age when they first started talking.
And when backlash hit, he and his
Destiny fabricated rape allegations to deflect. He's scared of the conversation because he wants to avoid confronting anyone about his serial abuse and rape. And we have another. Oh, I got to get through this today. This done. I just think it's really important to do this correct, and I feel like very few people give a shit about the actual truth here. Unbelievable.
Loser cult fabricated rape allegations against someone else regarding one of his victims to deflect some of the heat from him. Altogether, there are
I'm fact-checking that part.
Currently 5 women who have credibly accused Destiny of sex crimes.
Also check that.
They have proven they are in the videos shared non-consensually or shared logs of him sending them their stuff. He does nothing but dox and harass the shit out of all of them. And most importantly, that he was exchanging pornographic material with a minor was confirmed in court. Sorry, Pangburn, no false allegations in my content. That and other content non-consensually.
Okay,
and when backlash hit, he and his loser cult fabricated rape allegations against someone else regarding one of his victims to deflect.
Notice how quickly Dave flashed that there? Like, what the fuck?
Some of the heat from him. Altogether, there are currently 5 women who have credibly accused Destiny of sex crimes. They have proven they are in the videos shared non-consensually or shared logs of him sending them their stuff. He does nothing but dox and harass the shit out of all of them. And most importantly, that he was...
So this says, furthermore, Rose's testimony also reveals that because she was aware of Bonnell being catfished through the, quote, imposter account, and that sexually explicit materials of her would be shared with Bonnell. Bonnell was making requests for explicit materials, and that materials were being shared in this manner, and then at times shown to her. She was at least indirectly communicating with Bonnell. Interesting argument. Thus, the footnote stating that Bonnell was exchanging material with a minor is not incorrect. Well, I think it is incorrect based on the evidence. And Dave's taking this like plaintiff argument as gospel here. The fact that Solo acted as a go-between does not alter this assertion. Well, the plaintiff's calling him a go-between as opposed to a catfisher. Interesting. The fact remains that Bonnell requested explicit material of a minor. Nope. The evidence shows that he requested explicit material of someone who said they were 18. And really, this was a catfish who wasn't even this person, and that the minor provided it for him. The minor did not provide it for him. If they're talking about minor material that could have been sent to Destiny, provided it for him. That's what I would point to if I was judging this case. This was not provided for him. And he received it and viewed it. We can grant he received it and viewed it, if this was in fact shared. But I believe what we're looking at here, is old news that got overturned once we understood that this was a catfish situation. But we'll take a look at it. Okay, we're looking at quite a few things here. Remember, Dave's original testimony was that he is currently being sued for non-consensually sharing nudes of a minor. That's still false, Dave. We're working on something different now. So also to do with something to remember with a case like this, if this actually does go to trial, a lot of stuff might be unveiled. So that's going to require us to update the material because we might not have access to all the available evidence at this time. So if there actually is something like at a later date, which is not verified now, something like CSAM comes to light and that's actually put into evidence, then we know it exists. This Destiny fabricated rape allegations to deflect claim by Dave. Destiny publicly accused JSTLK of serial abuse and rape of Cherry, even though we have not found a primary statement from Cherry herself accusing JSTLK of rape. But Destiny also did not originate the JSTLK rape Cherry characterization out of nowhere in that June 7th tweet. Versions of it were already circulating among other streamers / commentators. We shouldn't be saying things like that online unless we know damn well that is the case. Someone says CSAM is 100% established by Destiny. There's no way around it. Maybe he has established it. That is not part of the public record. What I care about is what's been professionally adjudicated here. Because there's all kinds of bullshit, he said, she said, all kinds of crap related to this. And this is something that this case is being heard. It's going to go to trial. Then we'll have more information. So Dave also put something up that these 5 women have accused Destiny of sex crimes. Melina, Pixie, Cherry, Abby MC, and Stasia. So apparently not all 5. And we should not describe this graphic as 5 women credibly accusing Destiny of sex crimes. The evidentiary strength varies a lot. So let's look at Pixie. Destiny shared a consensually recorded sexual video of her without permission. This is strong, specific, legally serious accusation with substantial corroborating evidence, still unadjudicated. Cherry. Destiny allegedly recorded intimate audio during sex without her consent and distributed it without consent. He said she filed a police report. Oh, she said she filed a police report. Direct, specific first-person accusation, credible enough to investigate seriously, but not proven or adjudicated. Melina, alleged unauthorized sharing of sexually explicit material. Possible, credible allegation, but the primary public statement we can verify is vague, weaker than Pixie and Cherry. Stasia allegedly said Destiny shared sexually explicit videos of her without consent, referenced in a sworn federal complaint, but we have not recovered a strong primary statement from her. We can hold this until stronger characterization. Abby MC says Destiny sent her sexual videos involving other women, including allegedly Pixie, potential witness to another woman's NCII claim, not herself a victim, accusing him of sex crime. Okay, so the Pixie case is by far the strongest case. There are some other claims related. Stasia allegedly said Destiny shared sexually explicit videos. Abby MC says Destiny sent her sexual videos involving other women. I mean, people can investigate it to see if there's any fire there. Wait, what was that? So just related to that graphic of these 5 women have made credible claims against Destiny. So, or sorry, Dave said 5 women have accused Destiny of sex crimes against them. At least 2 women, Pixie and Cherry, have made specific and serious first-person allegations that Destiny non-consensually distributed and or recorded intimate sexual material. Pixie's claim is currently the subject of active federal civil litigation, and Cherry said she filed a police report. Pixie's complaint, there's no verification of the police report, but she said she filed it. Pixie's complaint additionally states on information and belief that Melina and Stasia publicly made similar unauthorized distribution allegations, but the primary public evidence for those two is substantially weaker. Abby MC is not principally an alleged victim. She is a disputed witness. So Dave added Abby MC. Okay. I guess, yeah. These are people who have accused Destiny of sex. Okay. Abby MC is not particularly an alleged victim. She is a disputed witness who says Destiny sent her intimate videos involving other women. None of these allegations on the evidence presently available constitutes a proven grape or sexual assault finding, and no criminal conviction has resulted. Okay, now let's look at what Dave cherry-picked here from the court case. So the documents are real federal court filings that Dave is sharing here. And the highlighted passage really does contain a serious allegation by Pixie's lawyers that Bonnell indirectly exchanged sexually explicit material with a person who was under 18. But that is not what the lawsuit is actually suing him for, Dave. It is not a finding by the judge, and it emerged as a collateral dispute in Rule 11 sanctions briefing after discovery revealed that the quote Rose account was actually operated by an adult male catfisher. So, screenshot 1, what it actually is: plaintiff's opposition to Bonnell's Rule 11 sanctions motion, ECF 185, evidentiary status, argument by Pixie's lawyers citing Rose's deposition. Screenshot 2, plaintiff Jane Doe's own Rule 11 sanctions motion, ECF 186. Pixie asks the court to sanction Bonnell and his lawyers for filing their sanctions motion. Bonnell's preceding motion, ECF 183, defendant's Rule 11 sanctions motion. Bonnell argues Pixie's lawyers falsely told the court he exchanged pornography with a minor. Court disposition, ECF 240, April 21st, 2026. Judge denied both sides' Rule 11 sanctions motions without prejudice. The April 21st order is especially important. The judge did not adopt either side's account as established fact. Both ECF 183 and ECF 186 were denied without prejudice. So, again, Dave, what the actual lawsuit is about, Doe v. Bonnell, number 125-CV-20757, is a civil, non-consensual, intimate image lawsuit brought by Pixie/Jane Doe. The central allegation is Bonnell consensually recorded an intimate encounter with Pixie and later sent one of those intimate videos to the other online account known as Rose without Pixie's consent to the distribution. The complaint invokes the federal intimate image statute, 15 USC 6851, Florida sexual cyber harassment law, invasion of privacy, intentional infliction of emotional distress. The plaintiff seeks damages for distribution of Pixie's material. Therefore, quote, Destiny is being sued for sharing nudes of a minor is false as a description of the cause of action. He is not being sued by Rose. There is no count in this lawsuit charging with possession of CSAM, solicitation of CSAM, transmitting CSAM, sexting a minor. What Dave is citing are some claims from the plaintiff's lawyers, and it is a civil case, not a criminal prosecution. The minor issue became a collateral factual/evidentiary dispute inside the Pixie litigation.
Altogether, there are currently 5 women who have credibly accused Destiny of sex crimes. They have proven they are in the videos shared non-consensually or shared logs of him sending them their stuff. He does nothing but dox and harass the shit out of all of them. And most importantly, that he was exchanging pornographic material with a minor was confirmed in court. Sorry, Pangburn.
Exchanging pornographic material with a minor. That's what Dave just said. Exchanging pornographic material with a minor. You said he was sharing nudes of a minor in your first video, Dave. Sorry, Dave. It is false. Proven true? Proven true in court of law? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, Dave is not this simple-minded. He thinks that what he was citing was proven true in a court of law? My goodness. This is wild, Dave. How could you believe, with at the stage this case is at, that this has been proven true in the court of law? That is absolutely insane. That's absolutely insane. One more time. This is insane. There's an emotional knee-jerk reaction within me that wants to say Dave has to be trolling. Proven true in a court of law. Sorry, Pangburn. Slash out false. What? So again, the two documents that Dave provided before he thought he made a slam dunk here. Screenshot 1 was plaintiff's opposition to Bonnell's Rule 11 sanctions motion, ECF 185. Argument by Pixie's lawyers citing Rose's deposition. Screenshot 2 was plaintiff Jane Doe's own Rule 11 sanctions motion, ECF 186. Pixie asks the court to sanction Bonnell and his lawyers for filing their sanctions motion. Bonnell's preceding motion, ECF 183, defendant's Rule 11 sanctions motion. Bonnell argues Pixie's lawyers falsely told the court he exchanged pornography with a minor. Court disposition, ECF 240, April 21st, 2026. Judge denied both sides' Rule 11 sanctions motions without prejudice. The April 21st order is especially important. The judge did not adopt either side's account as established fact. Dave says, proven in court of law. What in the actual F?
No false allegations in my content. So what about Rose?
Okay, Dave.
Rose's boyfriend, the leaker. Surely Destiny would help expose a guy who leaked revenge porn of him and all his good friends. Conveniently, Destiny had nothing to give the police, despite having proof he solicited a minor and that her boyfriend was complicit in it and he knew how he was doing it. So what about Rose's boyfriend, the leaker? Surely Destiny would help expose a guy who leaked revenge porn of him and all his good friends. Conveniently, Destiny had nothing to give the police.
If Dave is saying this has been proven in the court of law about the proposition that Destiny knowingly exchanged sexually explicit material with a minor, that is false. Dave converts a litigant's allegation and disputed deposition evidence into a judicial finding. Pixie's lawyers argue that sexually explicit material involving the real underage Rose passed through adult catfisher Solo between Rose and Bonnell. Bonnell disputes that characterization, emphasizing that Solo operated the account and represented the person as an adult. No judge or jury has found that Bonnell knowingly exchanged CSAM with a minor, and the ongoing civil lawsuit is principally about the alleged unauthorized distribution of Pixie's intimate video, not a criminal CSAM charge.
Police, despite having...
Actually, I've been thinking this over. I would like to see the police look into this, if for no other reason than he could be exploiting other girls. Only one of us can make that happen. Want redemption, Stephen? Go to the police tomorrow and give them everything you... I have nothing to give to them, remember? The only reason they even found the Rose person was because I posted the pics in chat to bait them into looking. Seems pretty stupid to do that if I thought she was 17, huh? Wonder if any of them will spend even half of the effort looking for the child sex trafficker.
Proof he solicited a minor and that her boyfriend was complicit in it.
What is Dave saying about this?
But what about Rose's boyfriend, the leaker? Surely Destiny would help expose a guy who leaked revenge porn of him and all his good friends. Conveniently, Destiny had nothing to give the police, despite having proof he solicited a minor and that her boyfriend was complicit in it and he knew how he was doing it.
Proof that he solicited a minor?
He already had a...
Dave, you've been so incredibly debunked in this video. It's unbelievable. This is like, again, flat earth, anti-vax level, anti-science.
Year-long head start on putting together a packet for the FBI, but no dice. So essentially, Rose was an Illinois minor being trafficked by Solo, who coerced her into making CSAM for Destiny and then leaked everyone's explicit videos when he refused to speak to...
I feel like Dave really rushed this part of the video.
To him. Now, another problem is that Destiny held on to the CSAM.
Why did you have Sherry's consent in order the audio record?
Yeah, keep pivoting. Keep pivoting. Yes, I did. Yes, yeah, I did. Yeah.
You did?
Yes, I did. Yep. Now what?
That's amazing. Did you have audio recorded, or do you have consent to audio record all the gay men that you had sex with?
There was one. Yes, I did. Now what?
Oh, okay. Do you think it's prudent to send all of your homemade pornography to somebody you've known for 2 weeks?
Yes, I do. It was hot. I cummed.
How long did you hold on to the pornography of a 17-year-old?
As soon as it was obviously no longer required to have done the thing. I'm not going to answer questions.
Okay, this is interesting. So, go back and listen to this.
I do. It was hot. I cummed.
How long did you hold on to the pornography of a 17-year-old?
As soon as it was obviously no longer required to have done the thing. I'm not going to answer questions about my current court case.
Okay. So it does sound like Destiny is confirming there that, at least from his perspective, that CSAM does exist. Let's go back one more time.
Did you have consent to audio record all the gay men that you had sex with?
There was one. Yes, I did. Now what?
Oh, okay. Do you think it's prudent to send all of your homemade pornography to somebody you've known for 2 weeks?
Yes, I do. It was hot. I cummed.
How long did you hold on to the pornography of a 17-year-old?
As soon as it was obviously no longer required to have done the thing.
So Destiny claims in this video, add this to the that Destiny claims in this that. So now we have, according to Destiny, in this podcast, that he was holding on to this material. I assume he was holding on to this for legal purposes. So we have a piece of testimonial evidence now that we should add to the record. Now, this doesn't change what's in the public court record. This still needs to be adjudicated, verified to actually be what Destiny thinks it is. I mean, I think he's holding on to it for legal purposes, I would assume. Someone saying, I heard from Destiny that he kept it because he wasn't sure if it was CSAM, and if it were, he couldn't erase it. Yeah, so let's say this is a real statement from Destiny that has been interpreted this way, but we should not phrase it as Destiny admitted he was holding on to pornography of a 17-year-old for legal purposes. The wording goes one evidentiary step beyond what we can presently verify. The strongest verified version is Destiny acknowledged preserving a copy of Rose-related communications material after the lawsuit began and invoked evidence preservation / legal reasons. He later denied that the material he retained included actual CSAM. Oh, he later denied that the material he retained included actual CSAM, saying he retained messages / screenshots rather than the alleged cache of explicit videos. That distinction is crucial. What Destiny definitely acknowledged in private messages later published by Willie Mac, Willie apparently asked whether Destiny still had the relevant video / material. Destiny answered, depends on why you're asking. But yes, I created a copy of all our messages and everything when the court case started. That exchange was sufficiently concerning that Willie Mac reported it. That exchange was sufficiently concerning that Willie Mac reported it to the police. So Destiny acknowledged deliberately preserving Rose-related material after the litigation began. And the reason he gave was connected to the litigation / evidence preservation problem. That part isn't invented. But did he admit the preserved copy contained the actual explicit videos of the 17-year-old? That is not established from the statement above. The problem is the word everything taken in isolation, and especially when answering a question about a video, it sounds potentially broad, but Destiny subsequently publicly denied having actual CSAM on his computer and said what he retained was screenshots of conversations, messages, and reportedly a screenshot of the alleged content folder, rather than the alleged 60 gigabyte collection of videos. So there are conflicting interpretations of his own wording. Willie Mack's interpretation is, you just admitted you preserved the videos / material, including potentially illegal material. Destiny's interpretation, I preserved the evidentiary record relevant to the litigation. I did not preserve actual CSAM files. Those are materially different. I have not located an admission. We have not been able to locate an admission from Destiny saying something as explicit as, yes, I currently have sexually explicit videos depicting Rose when she was 17, saved on my hard drive. Without that, Dave should not silently convert, quote, preserved everything / messages into admitted possession of child pornography. There's another verified discussion that's useful. In his May 14th, 2026 discussion with Willie Mack, Destiny openly acknowledged the post-discovery version of the Rose story. He described Solo as an adult British man who was running accounts using pictures of his 17-year-old girlfriend and catfishing Destiny and other men. Destiny also said that after the lawsuit began, he went back through his logs and discovered that he had apparently never actually spoken to Rose in an audio call. So by 2026, there is no dispute that Destiny himself publicly understood the real woman had been 17 during at least part of the catfishing period. The question is what specific files he retained after learning that. If he really did retain actual CSAM, quote, for legal purposes, would that automatically be lawful? No, this is another important correction. There is not a general federal exception saying, quote, you can possess child pornography as long as you're keeping it because of a lawsuit. Federal law criminalizes knowing possession of qualifying CSAM under 18 USC 2252A. Congress created a very specific affirmative defense for accidental / minimal possession. It requires fewer than 3 images and prompt good faith action without retaining copies, either destroying them or reporting them to law enforcement and giving law enforcement access. Notice what isn't listed. Quote, keep them indefinitely yourself because they may be useful in a civil litigation. So if actual CSAM were knowingly being retained privately after its status became known, merely saying, quote, evidence preservation would not obviously provide a defense. Federal evidence law actually illustrates the opposite approach. When genuine CSAM is evidence in a federal criminal case, Congress specifically requires that it remain in the care, custody, and control of either the government or the court. Even defense lawyers and experts normally inspect it at a government facility rather than receiving copies. 18 USC 3509M. That statute concerns criminal proceedings, so it doesn't directly govern Destiny's civil lawsuit, but it demonstrates the general legal principle. Quote, its evidence does not ordinarily mean a private litigant gets unlimited permission to maintain copies of CSAM on a personal device. If potentially illegal material becomes relevant to litigation, competent counsel can arrange preservation through appropriate legal / law enforcement channels. And we still don't know what the files at issue legally qualify as CSAM. This is what we've been talking about this whole bloody time. Another distinction Dave needs to preserve. Quote, pornography of a 17-year-old can be shorthand, but legally we need to know, was Rose actually under 18 when the particular file was created? Did the file depict sexually explicit conduct within the federal statutory definition? Did Destiny actually possess the specific file? When did he learn the depicted person's actual age? What did he do after learning it? We don't presently have a judicial file-by-file determination answering those questions. So Rose was 17 during part of 2022 does not automatically mean every explicit looking file associated with Rose's persona was CSAM. What about Destiny saying he needed to preserve it because deleting it could be evidence tampering? There's a legitimate legal concept underneath that concern. Once litigation is pending or reasonably anticipated, parties generally have a duty to preserve relevant evidence. Destroying relevant evidence can lead to spoliation sanctions. Indeed, Doe v. Bonnell itself has developed a substantial spoliation dispute. So this isn't an imaginary concern. But if evidence might itself constitute contraband, the proper solution is not necessarily, quote, keep the contraband on your PC. The legally cautious approach would normally be contact lawyer, contact appropriate authorities / court if necessary, preserve evidence in a lawful, controlled manner. And DOJ expressly tells people encountering suspected CSAM to report it to law enforcement / NCMEC. So the two duties need to be reconciled, not treated as though one automatically cancels the other. So one more time for the publication's safe record. Destiny acknowledged preserving a copy of Rose-related communications / material after litigation began and cited evidentiary / legal reasons for doing so. His wording to Willie Mack, I created a copy of all of our messages and everything, reasonably generated concern, particularly because Destiny later acknowledged that the real woman whose identity Solo used was 17 during part of the relevant period. However, Destiny subsequently denied retaining actual CSAM and said he had preserved messages / screenshots rather than the alleged cache of explicit videos. No court or law enforcement finding currently establishes that the retained files constituted CSAM. Moreover, if actual known CSAM had been retained privately, a generic litigation preservation purpose would not itself create a blanket federal defense. U.S. law provides much narrower procedures for contraband evidence. Now I'm very interested to see is the catfish being charged or pursued for distribution of this material if it turns out to be CSAM? Oh, fuck, this is a lot of information to go through. What are we at? 8 hours, Jesus. Fucking track that guy down, this catfish. Possibly distributing CSAM, but impersonating someone using a 17-year-old's pictures. And what the fuck is wrong with this person? As of August 25th, I cannot find any public evidence that Solo, the adult catfisher who operated the fake Rose account, has been criminally charged, arrested, or sued as a defendant over the leak. Okay. So is everyone still up to date on the CSAM thing? CSAM has not been demonstrated in this case. Not even, it hasn't been demonstrated that Destiny ever had CSAM